Good morning. How is everyone this morning? Hope you're doing well. It's a nice morning here in South Florida. Not too hot, a little bit of a breeze. Perfect. I left my coffee inside. Darn it. I would have shown you my coffee. I just had it. I had it just a little bit left before I came out. Anyway, enough of that. So it is Wednesday Wisdom, a little Stoic philosophy coming at you this morning. And for whatever reason, this morning when I posted kind of like my initial post for the day, it had to do with relationships. So I think the reason that popped in and that felt like the right way to go, and now the Stoic philosophy is a little bit on the relationship angle, is there's a lot that's been coming up recently within my circle of people in my life, and where there's relationship shifts and dynamics. I had a pretty big conversation with someone yesterday. It just really, I don't know, it's just in my field. It just got me thinking about the way we interact and engage with one another when we have to have difficult conversations with people. And having those difficult conversations is really vulnerable. We're putting ourselves out there in a way where we could potentially be hurt. The expectation of a certain outcome may not come to pass. And there's just a sense of anxiety sometimes around having these conversations. And the one thing that I have found is that it really depends on who you are talking to and who you're engaging with. So there are some relationships that feel really safe and some that don't. So the quote for today is from Epictetus. And I'm going to let this truck go by before I read it. Hold on one second. There it goes. Okay, awesome. So the quote from Epictetus is, "Above all, keep a close watch on this, that you are never so tied to your former acquaintances and friends that you are pulled down to their level. If you don't, you'll be ruined. You must choose whether to be loved by those friends and remain the same person, or to become a better person at the cost of those friends. If you try to have it both ways, you will neither make progress nor keep what you once had." Okay, that's a little bit heavy, I know, and the language is a little bit harsh. I do realize that too, and I'm not saying take it completely literally, but my take on that quote is simply this. As you get to know yourself better, as you begin to understand who you are and you have a sense of your truth, you operate from that place. And there are people in your circle and even maybe in your family that no longer resonate with who you are, who no longer understand you, who no longer support the path that you've decided to take. That doesn't mean you don't love them. That doesn't mean they're not important to you. That doesn't mean they can't be in your life, but their role may change. The dynamic within the relationship may shift. Some people may not continue on the journey with you. There are some people that come in for a reason or a season, as that saying goes. And I can tell you too, from the end of my marriage and the friends that we had as a couple, the friends that he brought into the relationship and the friends that I brought into the relationship, those relationships have changed. The people that I have loved and called family, not necessarily his family, I'm still very close with his family, thankfully, which really makes me so happy. But those friends that are family, some of those have fallen by the wayside, and that hurts my heart, but that's how it goes. There are friends that were our friends as a couple, and they're not really sure where to go. It's kind of like who gets if you have a dog and you break up, and it's like, who gets the dog, who gets this or that. It's a really tough thing, and people don't know how to handle it. They don't know what to do. And, some people get bitter and angry, and they really have a very clear expectation of what they would like other people to do. And maybe if we loosen that a little bit, kind of meet people where they are and have a sense of boundaries for ourselves, what we need to keep ourselves feeling like we're standing in our truth and in our integrity, but also not dictating terms to other people. And when we're able to share our vulnerability with someone that we're close to, there's a deeper connection that's formed. And there is a sense of safety in the vulnerability, which almost is antithetical. I realize as I'm saying that, I'm like, gosh, that just like kind of hurts my head a little bit. My brain's like, what? But I had a personal situation yesterday that happened where, it was a really vulnerable conversation, and it was a tough conversation. And I'm honestly still processing it now and feeling into how I'm going to proceed going forward. But, there was a deeper connection that was formed by that radical honesty and by just sharing our truths with one another and being super, super vulnerable. And there's just such a beauty in that. There's such a sense of a deeper connection with someone, whether it's a friend or a work colleague or a romantic, partner, and no matter, or a child, it's that being vulnerable and putting yourself out there in that way that really does strengthen and deepen that connection. Or, if you ultimately don't feel safe, if you have been vulnerable and you don't feel safe with that person in the end, that's information for you that relationship might not be what you thought it was, that it may not be as safe as you thought it was, and that person may not be who you thought they were to you in your world. Again, doesn't mean they have to be out. It just means you shift the dynamic a little bit. You gained a little bit more knowledge, and now you can make a different decision going forward. So that's a little Wednesday wisdom for you today. Again, hope it was helpful, and I will see you back here tomorrow. Remember, we learn from one another. Please share with anyone you think may benefit. Bye for now.